It's Buck, D and Shondeen, a show to be forever, a show that'll do whatever our viewers desires. It's Buck, D and Shondeen, a show of perfection, an object of affection to quench our viewers' fire, completely free from infection, to be used at our viewers' discretion, waiting only for your direction. It's Buck D and Shondeen. Yes, we are back, and if you don't know, we play the intro every show for every guest that come on here, so they have to listen to the whole thing. And today we have a special guest. Let them know who we have.
We have Sarah Kennedy.
Yes. How you doing, Sarah?
Comedian Sarah Kennedy.
Yes.
I'm so glad you guys had me on here. Thank you so much.
So no. Put some respect on her name. Best in the city.
Best in the city 2020.
Yes.
Sarah Kennedy.
Yes. So they had to. I have my reservations about the Best of the City 2020, but they got it right. They got it right this time because you have been doing a lot of things during the pandemic, and it's kind of hard when we couldn't hit the stages, we couldn't do the in-person stand-up. You went virtual, you went online, and I think that was something that a lot of people are not comfortable with, especially coming from stand-up. But you do all facets of stand-up. You write, you produce, you do everything. So how was you able to stay afloat?
Well, it's so interesting that you bring that up. So for my day job, I work in the tech industry, so I have a startup job, and I know all these. I knew about Zoom before everybody had to know about Zoom and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so once comedy had to switch gears, especially for Albuquerque, because I always want to promote Albuquerque and have everybody be a beacon, just as much part of the comedy community as everybody else in the country.
Yes.
And if you can do it online, you actually have a bigger swath of people who can watch what's going on.
Yeah.
And so to loop in people and get things going, and to do it in conjunction with the Box, which is one of my favorite performance spaces in town, that was really something that was, one of my favorite parts about the whole thing. And so I get to I have one coming up on Thursday, or every other Thursday. So
Give us the name, get it off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you gotta tell us.
She said it like it's some big secret, so I got something Thursday.
Yeah.
if you know somebody who knows about it. No, it's called Sarah Kennedy and Friends, and it's a talk show, but we feature comedy from all over the country and also locally. And like Buck's had a sketch that we've shown a couple times on it, and we always try to make sure we feature everybody as much as we can, and it's only 45 minutes, but we pack a lot in. So.
Yeah, and you know what? I forgot to tell you. Some people actually paid me some money from that sketch. I was actually going to Phoenix to do some stand-up, and my phone goes off and it says you just received like $25. I was like,
cool.
Who sent me this? And then whoever it was, they contacted me on IG and said it was from watching it on your program. So that's dope. That's dope right there.
So they send it to you directly? How does that happen?
Well, so what I do is when I show the clips and whatever people submit to us, or when I have guests on, we make sure to share their Venmo, their Cash App, their PayPal, whatever it is that they need, so that everybody who's watching has an opportunity to thank them with money.
Yes.
And that's
it's like a tip. Like a tip.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was like, what?
I met a comedian on Instagram who does that tip cup thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. It's just straight to his Venmo. He does jokes. He makes fun of everything all day long.
Well, see, that's the thing. A lot of people, and I'm being transparent. I was one, even though I have a social media presence, it was hard for me once I did start doing stand-up actually to intertwine the two. Because I always was like, stand up separate than online. But during this pandemic, you had to mesh them if you really wanted to keep going. So was it hard for you to find comedians or was it hard for you to do that? Or was it hard for you to find people to be able to do it?
A little bit of all of it, yeah. So like, it's definitely hard to switch gears. And there were so many Zoom shows that I remember doing at the beginning when nobody knew anything, where it's silent and you're just kind of being like, this is stuff that I hope is funny.
Oh,
and
it's so hard, huh?
I know.
Oh, it's hard.
And so but now I'm a little bit more used to it, and there's a different kind of immediate reaction where it's like you'll see a ton of emoji out of nowhere, or like people like talking in the comments like crazy, and so then and DJs kind of have the same thing too. Like all my DJ friends are kind of like, let me know what's going on in the chat because I can't see you dancing. So, but everybody's kind of trying to switch gears in that way, and it's so different, and it feels very much like a Band-Aid in a good way.
Well,
where
I think
this is not going to be.
Well, I don't know. I think this is going to kind of be the new norm.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, is it you think it's going to be?
I think so because I always say that the internet makes everyone your neighbor.
That's true.
Because there's people, us being in Albuquerque, nobody really thinks of this being as a entertainment or a comedy hub.
Right.
And so when people, I always get it, like, you're in Albuquerque, you're in New Mexico, and then, they go to your social media, and then they see other people, and then next thing you know, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, that's
I think it's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
So with this being the new norm, if we do go back to normal, is this something that you're going to continue?
I'd like to. I mean, I'm really, really interested in the idea of doing something hybrid. Like, wouldn't it be so cool to be someplace and then everybody's performing local, and then all of a sudden you have somebody who's been on like Comedy Central that you're able to be like, okay, they're here right now.
Right.
And we can ask them questions and we can do whatever. And then like they get a chance to do a set and see a live audience too. Without having to leave their house, and then everybody kind of, everybody does become your neighbor in that way too. Yeah. We're able to bring big names here without them having to be at the casino or in other places that are maybe a little bit less accessible.
Well, see, that's the thing with us not having an actual comedy venue. I think that's the new way. That's the way for us. And it also cuts down on costs. You don't have to fly someone in. Right. You don't have to, like you said, put them up in a room. You don't have to secure a venue that's not meant for comedy. So, I was, it was one of those things that, I had to kind of get used to because my first couple of gigs during COVID was online. I was like, I ain't doing that. And then a couple months later, I'm like, I'm doing it. It's crazy. So I want to know, what made you get started in comedy?
It's great. I mean, so I've been doing comedy for 10 and a half years.
Wow, what's up? Like, decade in.
Yeah, and I started here in Albuquerque because I met Matt Peterson, who is a comedian. He's so funny.
Matt's pen game.
Yeah.
This guy can write his ass off. He's one of the best writers I've ever met.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And I met him at a party because he was my friend's boyfriend. And so, and I think I really embarrassed myself too, because I remember sitting down and being like, "You're a comedian, huh?" Well, I've always wanted to be a comedian.
Oh, you did that?
And then, like,
did you try out stuff on him?
I was like, no, I was like ribbing him, but not with real jokes. I was just trying to be like, I could do that, whatever. And then he was like, well, if you want to, there's a bar, you can come. And then I went to just watch him the first night.
Yeah.
There's nobody there.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, and so I was
Everybody
like,
thinks it's so illustrious. And,
But it was great. I was like, oh, this is like telling jokes in the woods. I can do
you
this.
might
This
as well
is so
be-
easy.
yeah,
This is
you
so
might as well
easy.
be- That's what I said.
And so
that's so funny.
I was like, oh, I'll do it next time. Put me on the, like, please let me try next time. And then in the 2 weeks between the two shows, because there was no shows in Albuquerque either, I literally told like every human being I'd ever known, met, grew up with here in Albuquerque that I was going to try this out.
Right.
And so the next show was slam packed with
Bunch
like
of people.
people from like middle school and my parents and like all these like people. Which is the worst way to start comedy. You should start comedy. Comedy should be like a quiet thing that you do in private, and then you get better.
And then
what people don't realize is it's harder to make a group of people who know you.
I know.
It's harder to make them laugh than going in front of some strangers or even like a handful of people.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, I don't know you. Let's see. They're more open-minded. People who know you, they're like, all right, I'm here. What's up? What you got for me?
Yeah,
and
they're like, that's not the Sarah Kennedy.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Honey, why would you say that?
It's standoffish. It's just like, so, that's what you did. You got started. And then, so what made you say this is something I'm going to stick with? Because I know a lot of people start and it's like, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in New Mexico in particular, because we don't have a comedy club, I was always really driven to the idea that it's very do it yourself and like we have to put on our own shows, and I love producing a show. Like I think it's so fun to like Muppet Show kind of bring people together and like put on a show and like that kind of stuff. And so once I learned that we were all just kind of doing that, I got really into it. And then when I moved to New York and I got back there and I was like, okay, it's time. We're gonna like really
How was
whatever.
New York? 'Cause
it's literally the same thing as here. Like it's the same thing. It's like you have to put on all your own things. You have to be your own people. Like
it's the same thing. It's just kind of more cliquey, I would imagine, because there's different
it's just
sections.
bigger and a lot more people.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome. So, okay, let's do this. So we're gonna have you for 2 segments. We just got so much to talk to you about.
Was that already?
Very interesting. Very interesting. So you guys stay there. We'll be right back with more Sarah Kennedy on the Buck, D and Shondeen Show.
Let's just go and see the world and just show them what it really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, 'cause we're golden.
Lords is the name, we want the fame. You think we fell off, son, you a lame. We here now. Sack and master, about to drop lessons. Midnight mass is in session. Oh, we here now. Bandit Lords is the name, we want the fame. You think we fell off, son, you a lame. We here now. Sack and master, about to drop lessons. Midnight mass is in session. Oh, we here now.
For it, and I mean big.
And we are back with Sarah Kennedy once again. Y'all don't want to know what we were talking about
Yes,
during
you
the break.
Buck hates conspiracy theories. Just tell him.
I hate them with a passion.
And I
we'll
love
talk about it, but right now let's get back to Sarah.
Okay.
This is about Sarah. We'll get back to that.
Sarah's into it. Sarah's into it.
Oh God, y'all. So Sarah, give me your honest opinion on the scene, the comedy scene here in Albuquerque. What do you think? What are our weak points and what are our strong points and what are the points that we can get better in?
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's just so many good points. So I think that there are people who take it very seriously in a way that I'm very excited about. I also think the fact that Albuquerque and New Mexico in general has a very big theater vibe.
Yeah.
There's a way for comedy to kind of look very different than it does in other towns, and I think that's very exciting. You know, and then there's also times where you're like, sometimes and it happens everywhere too. Sometimes comedy for people and open mics and stuff like that are karaoke for people. So they'll go out and they'll just want to spout off, and then that's it for them for the week. And we have to share time with them when we're like trying to like get places and do things. And so like sometimes it's really hard to tell like people who are gonna be like part of a community and people who are just like trying to like pass through or to tear things down in some ways or like that kind of stuff. And it's, I mean, and then also because we're all individual kind of people going around doing our thing and trying to bring ourselves up, it's hard to know when to like step in and be like, you'll know when like something crosses your own values and you'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna punch that guy outside. But like sometimes things can happen in a slower way where like groups of people, you know, it's kind of happened all over the place where there's just like insidious stuff that like comes up through places that'll give you a platform. And I worry about that for Albuquerque a lot.
So, you know, the thing that I see that we have a unique opportunity here with the different dynamics, the different demographics of people. We're already a melting pot. We're already, but I do see that in comedy, it's like I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, where I think it'll be better if we could all get together, bring our people, and then, you know, that's where it makes the scene a little bit better. I think, you know, it's okay. You know, we get ourselves, like you said, a lot of us get ourselves in our own head and like, oh, I'm the man, or I'm the woman, I'm over here. But when you go to someone else's, it's like, It's like, where'd your confidence go? What happened to all of this that I saw that you're used to doing with a certain group of people? So I just wish that would be one thing, because we have the opportunity. We all interact. There's no, the good thing about this city is it's just a melting pot of all type of races and people's culture and everything else. And once that spills over to the comedy, I think it'll boom.
Yeah.
That's what I really think.
Yeah, I think so too. I really wish we had a space. I wish we had a space.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, a way for that kind of coming together to happen. And then, like that kind of, and then, you see people like Keith who's doing so much work to get everybody a TV credit and that kind of stuff. And like those things and that kind of professional buildup of like, have a website, have some online presence, do some stuff. Like that can really help.
Right. But also it takes time. You just can't wake up in the morning. That's one thing I had to learn. I was like, okay, where's this at? And I'm like 2 months in. Like, you can't do it that way.
I bought merch, I think, within 2 months of me starting comedy.
Really?
I'd show up to open mics and be like, you want my t-shirt?
They're like, who is that? Oh, that's you? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you're selling your own
Yeah,
shirt?
you're like, oh. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so let's talk about Best of the City. Best of the City
Best of the
2020.
City.
So
Congratulations, by the way.
on
We keep
that.
telling you.
No, I'm gonna give you a genuine congratulations, because I've had issues with who's won previously, only because of this. It's not that I don't like these people. Well, there's some that I don't like. Some of y'all don't
Tell
like.
them, Buck.
But I'm gonna tell you what I don't like about the way what happens sometimes. What people don't realize is you are a representative of our community of comedy. So if anyone who doesn't live here, or there's people who do live here, and they'll pick up that magazine or they'll see it on the internet and they'll be like, oh, this is the best comedian here, or these are the best comedians. Let me go check them out. And they are pissed. They're upset. And that's what happens. They're never going to a comedy show again. And that's the reason why you can put on a show. And people, I've been told, are you funny? Because I went to this person's and they were this.
Yeah,
and,
I heard that too.
And I was disappointed. So that's my biggest thing with that. So, but I want to say they got it right, 2020, because, first thing, you got to work.
Yeah.
You got to be funny, and you got to keep working. That's just what it is. So, how did you feel when they let you know you won?
That was pretty amazing, and they really kept it secret for a long time. Like, they told the top 5 that they were the top 5 for a while, and so I was like, well, that's so nice. Anybody here is a great person to get it. Like, that's fantastic. And
That's
so
already right there. You know you won there. When you have that, I don't really.
No. But honestly, it's so funny that you mentioned this stuff before too, about like bringing everybody together, because I will say your response to last year's results and having that big show about like, let's name Albuquerque's funniest, and having it be Virginia, and having it be like all the, like every facet of comedy showed up that night.
Yeah.
And people had a really good time. And that was one of the last shows I really got to see before COVID hit. And it was like, man, if we could have this, this would be awesome.
Because everyone has their fans. And they're like, I'm only going to go if this person is doing it, because they like, I feel safe and I know this person will be funny.
Yeah.
So if you got 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 people like that, just think how many people are going to come. So do you guys get to, I know they do this big party, no party, nothing? You do the virtual little party?
What's going on with the party?
I did get a copy of the magazine.
Oh, do they let you perform at it? Like, if you win, do you get to do a set?
Well, the last time I won it, they did it at the party. They would have you come up and get like a picture frame with your certificate in it. And I wore this like big chain necklace, and I just turned it into like almost like a Flavor Flav
That's what's up.
thing. And then I just like walked around the rest of the like part in like the Civic Center or whatever, and just kind of was like, yeah, comedy.
That's cool. You're lucky you didn't get gaffled in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all let me win. I'm bringing the whole hood with me. Everybody in this room, we all going. And we going to be dressed like this. We ain't dressing up. We just going to be like this. Matter of fact, you know what we're going to do? Let's keep Sarah for the last segment, too. Let's just do that.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's just so much that we could talk about. I want to know just more personal things, so where do you see yourself in the comedy game within the next 5 years? I know that's a cliche question, and it's, as a comedian, that's probably hard as hell to answer.
Yeah, it's weird right now.
So what do you see yourself?
So I think that there could be 3 different venues that I really kind of keep myself as open as I can to each of them. So one of them, I wouldn't mind going back to New York, and like when I was there, I felt like an Albuquerque ambassador the entire time, just kind of like telling people like it's not Arizona, it's beautiful,
It
it's
is
great.
America.
Exactly. Yeah, come on over.
Did you make fun of Albuquerque? I know you did.
A
Let's
couple
hear your
times
joke.
you had to
Let's
do
hear it.
it was like little like throwaway things like I've never seen Breaking Bad and then winking and then
Oh,
like
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You have
Okay,
to
so
do
there's
those.
that. Number 2 would be to again try to like get everybody else to like come up also and like help us all just do it. And then the third one, I would like to own a space. Or like to be the person who kind of helps facilitate that. Like I think even if it was a gallery that was next to a brewery, so we didn't have to worry about like licensing or whatever, I'd be super open to any of those 3 things. I think all 3 would be helpful, and that's always what I want to be. So.
That's dope. So let's do this, man. I know we said we were going to have it for 2 segments. Let's do all 3. Hey, it's our show. We can do what the hell we want to do. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back with Sarah Kennedy.
Let's just go and see the world and just show them what it really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden.
We are back on the D and Shondeen Show with the amazing Sarah Kennedy.
This is the part.
Best in the City 2020. Yes, she was voted that, rightfully so. Before we go into anything else, I always looked at you as someone who's an ambassador to the comedy scene. So when I don't think you were here when I started, like 6 years ago. So it was, I'm doing it myself, nobody, it wasn't a welcoming thing, you know, you just, especially if someone feels that you're a threat. So did you, you know, we're gonna get back into your personal, you know, how to contact you and all that, but I just wanna get this out. Was it from you producing shows and just seeing things and you learning from other comedians, is that what made you wanna to like be a beacon or, you know, be a source for someone to grow?
I mean, it was looking at, because we came up at the same time as like a lot of comedians in Denver who are like pretty big deals now, like Sam Talent and all of them. And you would look to Denver in a way of like almost being like a sister city where it was like, oh, look at these people who are like doing it and grinding and like in a pretty big like location where people were coming, and then as soon as they legalized weed, then it was like, well, of course, it's
you
guys have it so easy now.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing here where it was like if they wanted to come down here, I wanted to be as welcoming as possible. And then I knew that that would pay off if all of us went up there. And so then we had so few comics and we had so few stages that the best thing you could do was to lay out a welcome mat and bring out as many people as could come out. Because if people were into it and people were good and people were embraced, then they were going to start producing their own shows and bringing us like extra stuff and their own connections and that kind of stuff. So really trying to build that out made me very busy, which was super cool. And then I got to like have showcases that I got to do. But then hosting 2 open mics every night or every week, God, can you imagine every night?
Oh, wow.
But every week meant that like, you know, you got to see brand new people. And then if they were funny, then let's get them on stage as soon as possible and that kind of stuff. So it behooves us to be as nice as possible in that way, or at least welcoming. And then, you know, at some point you got to be like, okay, now if you could be funny, that would be great. But like,
That's me. I'll give you a shot.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, all right, either you want me to make fun of you or you want the crowd to. Because either way, it's going to hurt.
What's the best at roasting, by the way? You roasted me for my birthday last year or 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, I got you good.
I got you good. Great. It was great.
So let's do this. Let's give off some of your information from your website. Let's go ahead and scroll that.
Give them your info.
Because you, like I said, you're very professional. I love that. And you're easy to talk to. And then you're also
welcoming.
You're welcoming, a source of information. And you know, that's to me, that's a good quality to have, especially in this cutthroat society. Comedy is cutthroat. As you can see, man, look at that. Look how professional that looks. Look at that.
nice.
Bi-monthly streaming talk show.
Look at that. I love that.
Bio,
Look at
my
that.
headshot. Yeah, and then like if you want to contact me, that's cool. There's my Twitter. With
we go.
this is
Oh,
my
a
show for
kitty
Thursday.
cat!
Yeah. See if I can get my cat on. And we've got Lydia Manning from Portland, and then
awesome.
Camille Theobald from New York City.
That's
and
awesome.
Camille has an album coming out this week,
Dope,
so
dope.
she's gonna do
So
some
that's
jokes.
on Thursdays at 7 p.m.
And it's on. I mean, it's on Facebook, Periscope, 2 Twitch channels,
Yeah.
2 YouTube
Everywhere.
channels. Like it's
Twitch
like
too?
everywhere.
That's cool.
everywhere. Okay, so Shondeen,
This is the part of the show where
Go
we
ahead.
usually do Karen of the Week.
look, go ahead. Here we go.
But we didn't have one because we were so excited about Sarah. But I voted Bill Gates as Karen of the Week. And that's mainly because of what he said in this clip. Roll it, guys.
But you don't have a choice. People act like you have a choice. Normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population.
Where was the Karen part?
You know what?
You know what? I vote against him being Cal. He is not Karen of the Week.
He's
What
got
is
the
it?
hair.
He's got the hair.
And he's got the, to me, a Karen, the definition of a Karen is when you find yourself saying, what in the white privilege is going on? Why would is he looking at the whole world like they're beneath him? Why does he want to vaccinate the whole world? He's a germaphobe.
Why not?
He's a germaphobe, and he needs to keep his mind, he needs to mind his own business.
Well, germs.
Germs are everybody's business. What are you talking
Germ
about?
is a theory. It is a theory.
Can y'all zoom in? Can I get this one right here?
All right.
Can I get this one
But
right
the part-
here?
the-
Can
the
I get
part-
this one?
the part
Look,
where he's
look,
a Karen-
Look. I do
Do
not
the face.
condone
The face.
this part. This is
For
the
my
Shondeen
600
part of the show. Not. Yeah. Please do. Let me show y'all something. This is the Shondeen part of the D and Shondeen Show. I have nothing to do with this shit. All right. Go back to Shondeen.
Go back to Shondeen.
You said germs or what now?
It's a theory, the germ theory,
What's the theory about germs?
that there's something in you can catch a virus through the germs.
I've heard that theory before, and I believe it.
There's that theory, and then there's exosome theory. There's like 5 other theories.
Man, you can say anything is a theory.
Yeah, exactly.
But I believe-
they're all theories.
I believe that germs make you sick.
Germs make you sick. Period. That's not a theory, or is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Okay.
Well,
do
once
this.
you start
do
believing
this.
in it,
do
that's when
this.
you're- that's when you've
do
gone
this.
overboard, bro.
Go to. Let's go.
But
we'll do this.
I voted
Go
him for
to an
Karen.
old folks' home where it's like a COVID
Hotbed.
COVID
Oh, yeah.
couch.
I
And you
wouldn't
just
be welcome
wait.
over there.
You don't believe?
I wouldn't be welcome over there.
Oh.
would
But
show
okay.
me?
I just think. How much time do we have? I'm sorry. Look, we got 2 minutes. So here's my thing. This is what I was saying earlier. This is what conspiracy theories used to be like entertainment,
They're so
and
cool.
they used to be National
The
Enquirer
UFO.
and all this stuff.
The UFO stuff.
Now the
especially.
stuff is so rampant and it spreads like wildfire because of the internet. And then you have these people who really don't have real lives. They don't feel important in their real life.
Yeah, that's true.
And so they'll
do
take
know.
this little bit of something that someone maybe even made up or did it for a laugh. Next thing you know, you got people that's driving their trucks into hospitals and just doing crazy stuff.
Like
What-
conspiracy theories are like a germ.
Yes.
They should
And
be.
they can
Yes.
become very
That-
contagious. and
That's
like-
great.
It
That's
should be,
great.
but
And
it's
she's infected.
No,
You are
no.
infected with conspiracy theory
it-
germs.
the part
Where's
where
my
it
mask? I
The
don't
part
put
where it
COVID
gets too
on.
bad is when you go in too deep. You have to
Yeah.
really take it as you can't believe. You can't believe if you start.
Well, that's the
once you
problem,
start
though.
using the word belief.
Well,
you've
see,
already gone too far.
Well, the problem is this:
that's
when
the
you
way
have
I see it.
when you
it has to
have
be entertainment.
when you have a big group of people, it's like the whole thing. If you tell this, and by the time it gets to somebody else,
Yeah.
it's misconstrued or it's even a
Yeah,
lie.
yeah, like the telephone. game,
That's
yeah.
what usually happens.
Yeah.
That's what usually.
Well, you know what?
happens.
Here's a big one, and it's based on lies on the media. Here's a really good one that I want to set the truth about because this is not cool. People need to stop with this, and I call it a Christian conspiracy because what's going on is people are thinking that because of the vaccine, they're going to start mandating it. So. And they're saying, well, you better get it because you're not going to be able to go on the airline.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you
yeah, I've
better
heard
get
that,
it
I've heard that.
because, and there's all this fear mongering, and that needs to stop because when I actually looked into the actual law at FDA.gov, because the vaccine is not.
She do more. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm cutting you off because we're about to go.
Yeah.
She do more. She does more research on this
It's
than
not
for,
even
than for
research.
our
It's
show.
a quick
What are you
link.
talking
It's a quick
Look.
link. Anybody can do it.
Yes,
All you have to do is
look.
look, and because it's not.
Don't be like Shondeen.
It'll never be.
Don't be
protect
like
our
Shondeen,
businesses.
y'all. Look.
Protect.
I'm vaccinated. I'm with Bill Gates.
Yeah, he's and yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's do this. We had a
So,
great time. Thanks
yeah,
for being on the
thank
show,
you.
Sarah.
You guys are the
Thank
best.
you.
Because look how we
Thank you.
get started on these conspiracy theories, and Shondeen will go for a whole 2 days.
I will,
And we
I
won't
will.
do that.
But
Y'all,
you-
we'll sign off. We'll see you guys next week.
Protect yourself.
I said next week.